Sunset breath. Deep breath in, hold it, spread your wings, and laugh it out. So let's get rid of the medical model for a minute. You've got sensations of pain in your body, you've got anxiety, you've got depression, you've got gastric symptoms, you've got arrhythmias, you've got, there's so many ways that the brain can send you protection. And that's what it is, protection. Panic attacks are probably the most intense form of protection, or persistent or chronic pain. Dr. John Sarno called them TMS, and his main theory was that the pain, usually back pain, his great book is called Healing Back Pain, or one of his major first books, and his thought is that mostly that pain is caused by repressed emotions, mostly rage, and he called it tension myositis syndrome, which sounds really weird. And then he changed it to tension myoneural syndrome. And so basically what he was trying to say is that even if you have something physical that shows up on a scan, like a herniated disc or a bulging disc, or you've got some misalignment in your hips, that's not what's causing the pain. The pain may have started with something like physical, but the body heals. So the body heals usually pretty quickly, in a matter of months, even for major things, bones breaking and so on. So the body heals, but there's a memory. There are other words for this. There are other ways of describing this. Some call it mind-body syndrome, or MBS. Some call it PPD, psychophysiological disorder. And I just call it PS, because it's a protection signal. It's there to protect you. When you feel anxiety, it's there to protect you. Unconscious mind thinks you're in a situation based on ancient memory sometimes, like you're in a crowd and it's not comfortable to give a speech to a crowd, because in ancient times, when you were giving a speech to a crowd, there may have been a gallows or a guillotine nearby, and if your speech wasn't just right, then off with your head. So you can see how these patterns can be passed generation to generation as we evolved as people. Sudden surge of protective signals could be like big adrenaline when you're in a confrontation that really isn't dangerous, like your boss says something to you that wants you to do something that you don't want to do. You feel like you don't want to do that crap, and you say, okay, I'm getting a bunch of adrenaline here to protect me from my boss. Your boss probably isn't going to walk in and attack you with a sword, but in ancient times your boss probably would. Maybe even beat you to death. So I'm not trying to get macabre here. I'm just saying that the protection signals are very real. They're very ancient. They're built into our limbic system, our unconscious minds, and they're automatic. So forgive yourself for it. You don't have to forgive yourself for it. That's the wrong way to say it. Forgive me for saying forgive yourself. Accept it. It's not your fault. And love yourself, knowing that these programs we were born with are not here to harm us. They're here to move us into greater states of protection. But the issue there is, when the signal keeps playing, it repeats itself and becomes an echo. It becomes a long-standing echo, a persistent symptom. And you could call it PS2, persistent symptom. I prefer protection signal. Anyway, you've got all these terms, and the coaches all have these terms. It's persistent pain, it's persistent anxiety. Don't get medicalized. It's just a brain program pattern, and that pattern can shift. Sometimes it shifts really quickly when you clear a trauma that unconscious mind is still believing is happening, and other times it takes consistent, persistent effort to shift that pattern by showing love to the sensations that are coming to protect you. Either way, it's good news, because there's nothing really wrong with you. There's nothing physically wrong with you at this moment. There might be some wrinkles on the inside, as Dr. Sarno said, and there might be some misalignments, but those don't have to cause symptoms. Once you teach your system that you're actually fine, you're actually healthy, and then begin working from the inside out with somatic practices to teach your brain that you're okay. That's how the symptoms can fade. If you need help with this, if you need to understand more about this, then reach out. I'll give you some guidance. There are a lot of amazing books out there you can read, and there are a lot of amazing practices. There are many paths up the mountain, and there are many ways to re-engage with life and return to freedom.